Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't even try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Now, those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, Orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Live on X Spaces for the fan feedback segment of every post-game show. Unfortunately, there's no fan feedback segment for this show. And that's partly my fault, subconsciously, I think. That's how that went. So, hold on. I'm hearing my myself back in your microphone somehow.
Okay.
So Syracuse hit the road, went to Miami, take on the Hurricanes, and it was a long evening for Syracuse in their 38-10 loss there. This one turned on a dime, maybe a couple dimes quickly, 23 seconds, 2 touchdowns for Miami. And that was pretty much all she wrote from there, as I mentioned on Twitter. The Syracuse defense will wear this, the Syracuse offense will wear the Syracuse defense down eventually. And it's kind of the same thing as it were. I mean, Filardi again with 39 passing yards, but this time only in 3 passes, went 3 for 3 and a touchdown. So yeah, that was interesting. And that leaves things in the air for the game in South Bend. But more the same as far as the team itself goes, and progress has stopped, in my opinion. And the defense did what they could for as long as they could, but they got wore out, and that's that. So that's the way I see it, and there's really nothing else for me to say about it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and we could talk about these things over and over again, but you could listen to the last 3 podcasts and you're going to get the same type of show, and figure we'll keep it at that. Joe, I'll let you give me your thoughts.
It's pretty much the same thing. Like you said, I was watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, like, tomorrow's podcast is going to be the same. The same as every other one. We played a good first half. It looked like we were in it. Held them to a touchdown late, thinking, okay, well, maybe we can go down and score, get some points on the board. You've seen Will's fumbles, and we give up a big play, pick 6. Like, again, that's just the little stuff. And, like you said, it's just beating a dead horse. But yeah, it's kind of the same old story. Stay in the game the first half. Don't put up points because of a couple mistakes, and defense out on the field too long, and then they end up going and scoring a whole bunch. So same old. Yeah. They didn't give up, but at the same time, it just gets to a point where it just seems like we can't compete full 4 quarters because of the
offense and mistakes.
Well,
yeah.
Yes. I mean, it is mostly offense, right? The defense does give up big plays, but it's a bend or don't break until they're just kind of gassed, so.
Yeah, and, you're down inside the red zone and fumble the ball, and then, I mean, you look like you're about to score before the half, and you're going to get the ball back, and it's just momentum shifts. It's not even momentum shifts more so as it is just momentum killers, just absolute momentum killers. It's a deflating feeling, as a fan. I can't imagine what it's like as a player when you get all the way down there and then you lose the ball in a fumble, or you throw an interception, and it's just momentum killers, period. So okay, let's take a listen and see what Coach had to say following the game.
I thought our first half was really good on both ends of the floor. I thought defensively we really got after it. I thought we had some great possessions. Thought we communicated. We make them take tough shots. We got a couple of fouls that got them to the free throw line, or the defense would have been really pretty much lights out the first half. I thought Cayenne really set the tone in the first half on the offensive end by just getting to the basket, making some plays. But Will Cal and Donnie, Will Cal was a man tonight. I just thought he really set the tone, on the offensive glass and defensive glass, and just protecting the rim, and that's what we need from him. I thought he really set the tone for us, and I like where Sadiq was at. Sadiq came back and gave us some energy today, and flew around a little bit. Tyler Betsy, our whole front court really came in, and I thought that all of those guys did a really good job. Overall, so I was, things that we have to work on, continually work on, and get better at, obviously. But I thought our defensive effort was there, for at least, about 28 minutes of the game. We still got to work on having that intensity for 40 minutes and finishing plays. We got to do a little bit better job of finishing plays. But it's only our second game. We just got to keep getting better. And that's what we'll do. When we get back in the next week, just continue to focus on things that we need to get better at.
A couple times how much of a focus defense was in the offseason. What would you put at the top of that list? Was it, like you mentioned, 40-minute intensity? Was it you got to get back to basics, a little bit of everything? What was your focus in trying to get the defense better?
Mentality, disruptive. Those are the words we talked about, being disruptive, hunting. Those are the words that we describe. That's how we play. We don't want anyone to be comfortable. We want to get after people, and we're going to give us some stuff. That's fine. But everything is contested, whether it's a jump shot, at the rim, anything, right? That's what we worked on this summer. And it is really about the mentality, because defense is about a mentality, and that's what we're continuing to work on and improving. We're not there yet, but this is a start in the right direction. I think first of all, I really, when you talk about Melo, someone in not only just Kyan, but all of the players on my team, and their families entrusting us with their kids means a lot, right? It means a lot. The one thing about Cayenne is it's exciting to see, he's nowhere near what he can be. And to watch him continually grow and continually make effort every day, and that's the challenge, for him. And the way he handles himself, I marvel at the way that he's just one of the guys, and he comes in and he works like the rest of the guys. So I'm excited to play a small part of continually pushing and challenging him and developing him.
Brad, you guys had 22 points off the bench tonight. What are you hoping to see from a couple of those other guys coming off the bench to make even more of an impact, especially later on in the season?
Just do what we ask them, play hard, be aggressive, offense and defense. That's really it. We don't, again, I'm not putting these guys in a box. These guys, some of our guys that come off the bench, a lot of them could start, and so, I want them to come in there, and when it's their time on the court, play, right? We don't want to be passive. If we're going to make mistakes, we're going to make aggressive mistakes, right? That's what I want them to continue to do that.
For one more. Coach, looking at William Kyle, just his first couple games, play around the rim, what you've seen from him inside.
He's been tenacious in my opinion. He's used his speed, he's used his strength, he's used his motor. I think people are starting to see. I think today, 4 assists. And I think once he got here, you realize that he can do some more things. He can put it on the floor a little bit. He has a great feel, pass, and again, he's still. He's a guy that I love because he plays with that chip and he plays with that emotion.
All right, so a good night for Syracuse basketball, despite, look, here's the thing about Syracuse basketball right now. Is the first thing I noticed by the way, I looked for a press conference for Fran Brown, and there was not one up this morning. So unless it came up late this morning, there's not one on Syracuse Orange's official YouTube. So the first thing I noticed with Coach Red is that he's got a little bit of a different disposition. This dude, I think, feels like he knows what he's got this year, and he seems like he's a little louder in his press conferences. He's a little bit more. I mean, for as energetic as we've seen him get during a press conference, he's happier. He's a little bit more energetic, and it's Delaware State, I know, but I feel like there are some things that we can take away from this game, and starting with Coach Red's kind of disposition, and I just feel like he knows what he's got. As he mentioned, he's got guys sitting on the bench right now that could start. So that's a problem we haven't had in quite some time, in my opinion. So, Syracuse jumps up fast. They're pushing the pace. As Coach mentioned, a lot of that press conference was about how disruptive the defense was. They led 40-17 at halftime, just a tremendous first half. Part of that, a 10-0 run, relentless pressure on the ball. I mean, Syracuse held the Hornets to 21% shooting from the field, 1 for 14. And also they were, 21% from the field, 1 for 14 from 3. So just a stingy defense. They just dominated, and you expect them to. 24 points in transition, though. This is like the old school kind of late 80s, early 90s, like transition defense to offense type stuff that you want to see. So first thing, Joe, Coach mentions, you say your piece, and then, what you saw, as Coach mentions, the defense mentality being disruptive and hunting and just contest everything. It is a breath of fresh air. I feel like defensively we've struggled mightily the past couple of years. So good to see. Good to see a strong, relentless defense.
Yeah, I had some family in town yesterday, and I was watching the game with my cousins. And in the beginning, it's the last two games really. I mean, we haven't blown the gates open with our offense at the beginning of the game. But the one thing that I was continually bringing up was just how impressed I am about how they play defense and how athletic they are. And realistically, we haven't had a team in a little while where it felt like even if your offense has an off day, your defense can keep you in the game,
right?
Possibly win, right? Kind of get through some of those runs, those lulls that an offense can have when the other team steps up, and then your defense can step up and hold them so that you can get through that and start scoring again. So to me, that's really what I see is that they got guys, they're starters, guys on the bench, they come off and they're all just kind of really, really intense, athletic, fast. And like I said, the defense is the one thing that I see. And the offense, obviously, defense is really just effort and obviously communication. Offense takes a little while to
cohesion, chemistry.
Right. So you'll figure out, the rotations and who plays well together. I think that they all kind of move the ball pretty well. I think that there was some forced shots yesterday, but again, it's going to happen, especially early in the season. So, but yeah, I mean, that really was my takeaway, obviously, as far as the defensive part of it.
Yeah, Cayenne Anthony with 19 points gets the start and earned his spot there, and seems to be coach is pretty impressed with him. Mentions his abilities we're only scratching the surface of, and that's that's promising. And because me personally, I didn't really know what we were going to get with Cayenne Anthony. Sometimes these legacy players, they don't always work out, right? I mean, but this kid's obviously got talent, and I trust in coach and what he says about the abilities of him, and just fitting in right away, and obviously, how could you not when your dad's like one of the biggest stars to ever grace the Dome court? So, just good for him. As a true freshman, come in and earn that spot, and not just that, but to be able to perform the way he's performing at a high, 8 for 11 from the floor, and just out there doing his thing. He hit one as he was getting fouled, the 3-pointer as he's getting fouled yesterday. And, the one thing I would say, and it's Delaware State, right? Okay. And that's the last time I'm going to say that. But it doesn't matter who you're playing when you're shooting free throws. So 8 for 21, not great. And if I'm going to be critical of anything, I guess 38%, or excuse me, what is it about? 8 for 21. It's less than that. 40 something probably. 40 something percent from the line. Not good. We've struggled from the line recently, past couple of years. Got to clean that up. But we cleaned that up. I mean, there was numerous games last year where as bad as we played, we could have won the game if we made our free throws. And
oh yeah,
you leave a lot of points out on the table when you're not hitting your free throws. So that's my only critique. But Joe, you've been watching Cyan Anthony. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's definitely surprised me as far as offensively and just the way that he came in and, just his confidence. You can see him, Sadiq White, those two top guys. I mean, you see the confidence and, Cayenne, they said he was a 3-level scorer. We've seen him hit some threes. We've seen him hit a couple, mid-range jumpers. But really, to me, it was being able to take it to the hole and kind of take the contact, still be strong enough to take the contact, stay under control, and make baskets around the rim with both hands. So, so yeah, I mean that to me was the most impressive yesterday. It was him finishing around the basket, him taking it. Again, you can say Delaware State that it's a D1 school, right? So,
right? Yeah, I know it's a D1. Yeah.
And honestly, I like the fact that we have that there for when JJ's not there. You don't know how tough or how bad JJ's injury is, but it's somebody that is pretty much instant offense off the bench if your first team is kind of quiet on offense to start the game, right? And when JJ comes back, I did listen to the Jackson Holzer guy on Locked On yesterday, and he was talking about, does this put Cyan Anthony in the starting lineup, maybe over in Nate King's once, JJ returns? I don't know. I mean, maybe that might be the rotation at the end of the game, but, Coach Autry said he was going to play 8-9 guys every single game, and they're just going to hit people in waves. And, Cayenne, with the way he scored, and obviously, too, I mean, he's played pretty good defense as well. It's not like he looks like he's a liability out there so far, so.
By the way, free throws, I had totally wrong. It's 11 for 21. It's 52%. So, my bad. Which still isn't. I mean, we still got to do better than that. 22 points off the bench. That's impressive. We can go through. You can go through the stats with Sadiq White with 10, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block. 12 blocks for the entire team is very impressive.
Oh yeah.
So
William Kyle had 6 alone.
Yeah, I know. William Kyle. That's where we were going next. This dude down low, I mean, he was a force. Double-digit rebounds with 13, 4 assists, as Coach mentioned, a handful of assists, a steal, 6 blocks. I mean, I don't know, man. That's pretty impressive. It makes me feel good. I know that to know that you got a guy like that, 6'9", to be kind of a force down there. But I mean, I'm just impressed early with the team, and we've talked about, there was games where last year where we should have put opponents away, and we just did not. Right? Well,
I'm just going to go because I did plan on bringing this up, so I'm just going to go ahead and I know you said so far that it's only Delaware State, right? And it's only
Binghamton,
right? Mm-hmm. But we won those games by what?
A lot.
38 the first game, 40 the second game. We
yes.
didn't even have, and JJ Starling's played 3 minutes of the whole season, right?
Right.
And let's just to remind people, because it's just a Delaware State, it's just this. Last year, our first 3 games before we went to play Texas and Texas Tech and some of the big dogs, we only beat Lemoyne by 4 points at home. We only beat Colgate by 2 points at home. And then it took 2 overtimes to beat Youngstown State. by 9 points last year. So just to kind of put things in perspective, last year we started off 3-0, and we had basically our total winning margin was 15 points out of those 3 games. And so far we've played 2 without arguably, one of our obviously leaders, but best scores, and it's 78. So there's obviously a glaring difference.
It's huge, yeah.
Yeah. So, and as far as this William Kyle, I mean,
and defensively, not to let a team score 50 points in 40 minutes is impressive.
Well, that's the other thing. Lemoyne scored 82, Colgate 72, Youngstown State 95, albeit 2 overtimes. And that's kind of what I mean about that. We all remember the days of, the 2-3 zone, and before, all 5 positions could shoot threes and you could spread it out.
Length and just handsy and all that.
All that stuff. We remember the days of the Big East where if we scored 60, 65 points,
we were going to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or if and we could hold opponents to in the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And again, so like to your point, that's the other thing that I just noticed. And I'm not trying to, I had conversations with my cousins yesterday. I said, I liked Eddie Lampkin too. I liked his energy. They were sticking up for him. Eddie Lampkin, we wouldn't have won however many games. He was our only energy. Like, I get it, but he wasn't a good fit for the way that coach wants to play. And you could see how many times, like you said, fast break points, points off turnovers, just getting the ball and looking up and trying to get. I mean, we just haven't. It's been a long time since I've seen Syracuse basketball like that. And yeah, so. I mean, this William Kyle guy, to be able to get up like that and get blocks, he jumps better than Lampkin. He might not score around the basket. He can catch oops, but that's not really what we need. We don't need a post up guy that can't run the fast break or get up and down the court, because we don't play like that. We want to play faster. We want to maximize our possessions, and we want to cause havoc and go 8 and 9 deep. And he's been talking about that since he got the job. And I think finally we have a roster that he can work with.
Yeah, and he averaged less than 10 minutes a game last year at UCLA too. So, and I mean, he's going to get some playing time, and I mean, you expect. Here's the other thing, another bright spot, in which we used to talk about how the progression through the year and looking at a team and watching them develop, and just to like kind of encapsulate everything so far for the year, you see what you got now, and there's you can only go. I mean, to watch them develop for the rest of the year it could be promising. Like, I mean, by the time you get to the ACC tournament, if this team progresses the way we think they may, I mean, there's a really good shot of making a run in the ACC tournament and in the NCAA tournament. I feel like, as young as this team is, this is our best shot. And since Coach Red has been head coach, this is obviously his most talented team. Joe, you mentioned that. And I believe you even said on the show, like, hey, if he can't do anything with this team, it's coaching, right? So, you see what you got, and you got to imagine that it's only going to get better. God willing, everybody stays healthy.
Yeah.
We've got a deep, strong basketball team for the first time in a number of years, and it's exciting. There's no doubt about it.
And then, to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, yes, you want people to stay healthy, but at the same time, I think this is the first roster in a while where a guy goes down and you're not so like. I don't think there's a guy that if we lose, like, the season's over.
That's true. Right. Yeah, no, I understand. Yeah. We've been relying on one guy since Boeheim was still here.
Yeah. I mean, I know that Nate George is a true point guard. He didn't play the best game yesterday, but maybe if he goes down, then maybe it's what you got to figure something out between JJ and Cayenne. It'll be a little bit different. I mean, William Kyle, maybe if he goes down, then you're not going to get the same play, but I still think that you'd be able to coach up a soiree and figure something out between, a Luke Fennell or a Bryce Zephyr and JJ and Cayenne. Like, there's just so many different little things, right? Donnie Freeman goes down. I mean, you got a Tyler Betsy, you got a Sadiq White. might not be as talented on offense around the basket, but nonetheless, I mean, again, just a really, really deep team. And I think really it's going to be coaching, obviously, but also I think it's going to come down to when we actually go through adversity. Right now, it's easy to everyone be on the same page, work together, and, be all excited. But, once adversity hits and you get into close games, how are these guys going to communicate with each other? How are the bench players that are not in the game going to be sitting there chomping at the bit like, hey, when am I going to get my turn? When am I going to get my turn, right? Or they start losing a couple games. Do you lose the locker room? Do you lose that confidence? That's really the biggest thing for me. As long as you keep everybody happy, everyone's on the same team, the same wavelength of, hey, I'm going to get my opportunities. This is how it is. And we all just got to keep working together, and they don't lose that confidence, then they're going to grow. And then it's going to be interesting because, like, to your point, if they're already this, then, they can become something really, really good by the time the season's over with.
We haven't been able to we haven't really seen progress that was very noticeable the past couple of years because
or it gets stunted.
It gets stunted, but you're relying only, like you said, to your point, you're relying on a couple certain guys, and then that's it. And JJ was out, Donnie Freeman was out. They were both out at the same time at one point last year for a while, right? It was a couple weeks.
I think there was an overlap, by one game or something.
Oh, was it only one game? Okay, I apologize. But yeah. Donnie Freeman went out; he was out for the whole year, and then JJ went out early again. And we assume that this isn't that big of an injury or that bad of an injury, but and maybe just nursing it and letting them rest because of who we are playing is maybe the smartest thing to do. But I go ahead.
I said, I think that's what you need to do with a hamstring, especially early. It was 3 minutes in. Obviously, he had a hamstring injury with where the ice was, and with the first 4 non-conference games. Like, we need to. It's either bad and he can't play for that long anyway, or we just have to just make sure that his hamstring's good and ready for that the Houston game in that tournament come Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and so we are off. The basketball team is off for an entire week before we get to see them again, unfortunately. So I'm just trying to look in the net, and this website, this is different where I'm going.
Yeah, I don't know if the net's actually up yet or not, is it?
So there is, yes, there is a bballnet.com. Okay, this is. I've been searching, and this is the one that's given me the most information. But it's the 2025 net rankings, and you have to imagine that when we get to the Tennessee and Houston and I think it was Kansas or whatever, that this is going to boost them up. But I don't see them anywhere, bro. Probably could have already looked this up, but I haven't been home today. So,
I know they're 57 in KenPom. If that means anything.
It does. Oh, here they are. 133. See, this is already going to piss myself off.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to keep my powder dry until after this little tournament that we got going on. We'll play Drexel Saturday, November 15th at 3:30, and it's probably going to be on ACC Network Extra. Looks like Monmouth is on the regular ACC Network.
Yeah.
The following Tuesday, 3 days later. So, anyway, I think that
Drexel game's a big game.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that the only reason I'm saying that is because it's a situation where we're going and playing at Drexel. We're playing that in Philly.
Right, but isn't it a neutral site though? It's at Drexel. Drexel.
I thought it was. Is it going to count as a neutral site? I don't think that should be the case.
I don't think it should be the case, but for whatever reason, ESPN says versus Drexel. It doesn't say at.
Okay. So it'll be a neutral. Well, hopefully Drexel ends up being good enough to where that is a quad 3. We'll limit as many quad 4 games as possible.
All right. Then you got 3 or potential 3 in a row, quad 1 games after Monmouth. And
at least 3, but there's another one after Kansas. So we'll play somebody else that's a Power 5 team. That tournament is loaded. So
it is. Are you sad we don't get to play Colgate this year?
No.
No?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
I'm good with Colgate for a little while.
And we never talked about this, but what else I mentioned was Georgetown this year.
Mm-hmm.
That I am a little disappointed in because they got the best of us last year, and I guess that was it for the series. What was that? 4 years? It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't 6, so it was 4 years, I think. But anyway, yeah, it was when Coach Red first came on. I think were we still doing it with Boeheim? I think we were. I don't know.
Yeah, we
were. We definitely were, right? So 2 with Boeheim, 2 with Coach Red, I think, something like that. Yep. So okay, that's all I got, Joe. I'm sorry we don't have any fan feedback. I promise. Look, here's the thing. I'm a little jaded from the fan feedback, so you'll have to forgive me. But I wasn't going to ask for it after the football game, and I didn't ask for it after the basketball game because I forgot. So one was on accident, one was on purpose. And we don't need to. I just don't need. I have around enough negativity on a regular basis, at work and whatnot. So I'm good. I spared myself the struggle. So, anyways,
yep.
I hope that's fair. All right, that's gonna be it for us. Appreciate y'all for coming. We will be back a week from today. And hopefully talk about a football upset or at least some progress or something. But we'll talk about Drexel. We'll talk about Syracuse basketball a week from today. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you then. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.